What's a reality fair? It's a half-day event sponsored by Ravenswood Community Services that gives 7th and 8th graders at Ravenswood Elementary School a real-world taste of careers and budgeting. The 2017 Reality Fair takes place May 12th. Let's welcome Helen Pote and Jennifer Simakaitis, two volunteers from All Saints Episcopal Church who have been working hard to make the fair a success. So Helen, tell me, why a reality fair?
We started out trying to address a question which I think many communities, schools, parents deal with, and that's financial literacy. We have, people don't handle money in coins anymore, so we were getting a sense that our children really didn't understand what it was to earn a living, how much things cost, and how to really make ends meet through the day. So that was our core reason and continues to be our core reason for the reality fair. But as we've done it, and this will be our 11th year, we found that it offers so much more. The children have come to realize really what occupations and professions there are out there, what it takes to have those careers in terms of education, and what the financial returns on that might be. It also helps them appreciate some of the people that they meet on the street, in stores that they may not know one-on-one, and maybe understand better and have some empathy for them as those other individuals try to make ends meet.
Now, how did the church get involved in this community event?
Our church is a very interesting one. It is, I don't want to say we're rabble-rousers, but we're very active in many things. So Ravenswood Community Services does reach out specifically to help the people of the Ravenswood neighborhood. Ravenswood is our local community school. My son graduated from Ravenswood Elementary a long time ago. And they had a reality fair, but the instructor who ran it left and took all of the material. And it had been such a good experience for my son that we thought, well, we should do this. And it has just grown through All Saints and Ravenswood Community Services to be so much more, because when it initially started, it was just faculty members, a couple volunteers. We have upwards of 50 volunteers come every year to do this, along with students from Amundsen High School, which is our local high school. And you probably, if you work with preteens, they listen to teenagers a lot more than teenagers, so than parents. So it became, we do T-shirts, we do balloons. They really see that this is something that's really important because of all of the community involvement. And I think too that is a gift to our students, because some of them are. Come from less privileged backgrounds. Their parents can't spend a lot of time with them because they are working. My son had a good friend who was the only one in his family who spoke English, and he was trying to help pay the bills because that became his job. And so I think an opportunity where they would see 50 people whom they didn't know and were not related to, who actually cared about them. That's been such a gift, and it's a gift to us too.
Great, and I could also add that aside from the event taking place at our school, that there have been members of the community who've come in and volunteered at our event, who've then gone and said, I want this at my child's school. And they've expanded a little, so now we have a couple more schools in the community as well that are also doing the fair.
Yeah, I think
that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, we know about 4 identifiable schools in Chicago who are also doing it and have done it for a number of years. But we did post it a few years ago on the internet under Creative Commons, and we've heard anecdotally that other people are doing it. But
what do the youth? What can they expect? What actually goes on at these fairs?
Okay, I should say it can be as little or as much as you want. I mean, we are developing sort of a reality fair in a box.
Okay.
But ours we like to think of as being the premier one. We work very closely with the faculty at Ravenswood School. So before the fair ever begins, and as you indicated, it's a half-day program, the students research a career. First, and this is, and Jen found this and leads it. They take an interest test. So they find out, what kind of, are they an investigator? Are they a sales kind of person? A helper.
Yeah.
So
personality type.
And basically, we don't want them to pick a specific career because they're 12 years old, 13. They don't know what careers are out there. And we've had more than one student say, what is a fill in the blank? So we say, you seem to have interest in this area. You're going to be, the librarian, the surgeon, the nurse, the head of the sales department at a company. Once they know that, it is their job to, in the classroom with the faculty, to research what that job is, what they're going to need to do, and what their monthly income is. Oh, and how much education they need to get it. Obviously a surgeon takes more than another job. So when they come into the fair, they are armed with a tally sheet that says, I am the librarian and I am going to earn X amount each month, and I needed a master's degree to have this. And they come in, we welcome them, and then, all of this is based on statistics, from the government. So and according to government statistics, most families are dual income, so they have to have a spouse or a partner, and so they have to find out who their spouse or partner is first. And
who meaning what their profession is.
And what their profession. We don't care if it, as well, it was my childhood sweetheart or whatever. It's they go to a table, and again, we try to make it like a fair. So the spouse partner table is set up like a psychic fortune teller, and they lay out 5 cards, and they turn one over, and you find out that your spouse is a policeman, an airline pilot. That's a good one. Or sadly a deadbeat who costs money rather than brings it in. And then the volunteer takes your tally sheet and adds that spouse's income to that total. And then, because there are children in the world, you find out how many children you have. And it's set up more like a bingo table, and you get a little bingo ball that says how many children you have, and whether that your children have childcare at home or you have to pay for it. And statistically, a third of your income is going to go to childcare. So then, with that, armed with their monthly income, they then go through 15 or so stations, and sometimes they can make choices. Sometimes this is, death and taxes. You have to pay your taxes. A volunteer will deduct, based on their job and their income, what their taxes were, what their school loans are, and then they work around.
Okay.
Yeah,
Jennifer, I was wondering if I read that you all have a giant game of life. Could you tell us about this giant game?
Sort of, the way that the fair is laid out, it's not exactly like the game of life. We call it the game of life. It is like the game of life because, your first, as Helen was saying, the first stations that you visit sort of on this big board that sort of like goes around the gym is, you pay your taxes and you pay off your student loans, and then you make, right.
That's great.
And then, so these kids have, they have their worksheet, and they're essentially watching their money sort of go away over the course of the month as they go through the stations. So some of the stations after taxes and student loans are housing, transportation, your utilities. There are things like hygiene.
Do you have a pet?
Travel, pets, and charitable giving, because that's the kind of organization we are. So, they're sort of finding their way through, and at 2 different spots along the way, there are stations that we call the fickle finger of fate, which is the curveballs that life throws at you.
Wow.
So the kids will stop by that station and they choose a number which then matches to a situation like you dropped your iPhone in a puddle, you got to buy another one, or your aunt sent you a $50 check for your birthday, or that kind of thing. So it's kind of fun because the kids get to that station and they don't know what to expect, which is kind of the way life is too.
Thank you, Helen, and thank you, Jennifer.
Thanks for having us.
joining us today. I'm LaShondra Stevens for Different Drummers and the Greater Chicago Broadcast Ministries. Keep the faith.